All right, to further unpack this, let's now extend a very warm welcome to forensic expert, Ms. Dorothy Mmushi. Dorothy, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. A very good afternoon. So this is becoming quite a trend for the police department to be visiting these hotspot areas with promises to eradicate crime and apply the necessary resources, as we've just heard, right? But as a forensic expert, when it comes to these gang-related crimes, though, it seems there's no robust plan to deal with this type of crime. What do you make of the proposed Minister's revised strategy to fight gangs within the country?
Good afternoon to you, Alicia, and to your viewers. What we can make of the Minister's exposure today is that it's a good idea that the National Anti-Gang Strategy has been revised. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's a multi-pronged approach that involves intelligence gathering and proactive policing. And it also includes community engagement. I think what's at the forefront of such a strategy is the ability to engage the community by involving them in decision-making when it comes to issues of gang violence. And further, the strategy has to be supported by dedicated anti-gang units and also operations such as Operation Shanyela and Operation Vala Umgoti. So the challenge is that if the community is not engaged fully, then the strategy will not be as effective as it was planned to be.
And that's just the thing, right, Dorothy, because communities in these gang-infested and crime-ridden areas known as your hotspots have been for years trying to raise the alarm of failed policing within these areas. In Westbury, they're claiming that they were actually excluded from the meeting with the Minister and the National Commissioner early today. We saw the Reiger Park incident a few weeks ago where the community said they had had enough of raising the matter of their redundant police stations as well as staff. So does this then lead to citizens directly taking the law into their hands?
I agree with you in that you cannot have a strategy in place, but you don't support it with actions, and your intentions from the start are left questionable. I mean, with today's meeting, it was important to include those community activists because a lot of information that relates to gang violence comes from the community. So it's not good for you to only include a certain portion of the community. So I think that is also a bad start. And also, if you've heard, even members of the anti-gang units are complaining of a lack of resource. If you are going to put together a strategy, you need to make sure that that strategy has supporting factors to it, resource it adequately so that it's able to be used effectively.
I mean, what should this strategy, Dorothy, then consist of? We don't have all the details thus far from the Minister, but in applying a focused plan in order to root out the cause of these ills, you have to at least have a clear understanding of the where, the who and the why, and also why specific communities are engaging in these specific crimes. It's quite a multilateral approach that is needed to actually deal holistically with these gang hotspots.
Yes, that is correct. And I think also part of the strategy is to also look at the root causes of why community members end up resorting to being involved in gangs. And part of the strategy would look at how better to look at the social ills that lead our youth to joining gangs, issues such as substance abuse, the economic state that a lot of our youth are also unemployed. So there's a lot of social factors that also need to be looked into that will assist in curbing this thing of having a lot of our youth being involved in gangs. So it's a multifaceted approach. And also what needs to happen is it needs to be applied robustly in that you need to look at elements that get to cause people to be involved in being in gangs. And also, I'm sure you realized it's a lot of violence that is involved when such acts take place. So they need to also look at getting rid of guns off communities. There needs to be a proper strategy with Operation Shanyela. It has to be implemented regularly, and those guns needs to be removed from society.
You know, when you speak of the issue of guns there, Dorothy, in that clip preceding our interview, where, of course, a Member of Parliament, Ian Cameron, was actually visiting that metro, you heard the police department there talking about their under-resourced police stations, non-operational gun shop, and, of course, you know, they need more mobile surveillance vehicles. They're saying they've brought this to the attention of the National Department, but nothing seems to be moving, or at least at the pace that they would like.
And that is a reality of a lot of the units within the SAPS. Hence, I've mentioned that when you are going to implement a strategy, you need to resource it with the correct finances so that you are able to equip those members of those units to carry out that strategy effectively. I mean, how are these members going to be able to curb the occurrences of gang crimes when they don't even have vehicles? So I think the minister needs to also make sure that there is finances to support this strategy.
All right, Dorothy, as always, thank you so much for that meaningful engagement. Ms. Dorothy Mmushi is a forensic crime expert weighing in on the revised gang violence strategy that was earlier announced by Acting Police Minister Professor Firoz Cachalia.